Have you ever noticed how the harder you cling to something, the faster it slips away? A person you love, an opportunity you desperately want, a friendship you try too hard to maintain. It's almost as if life itself can smell your desperation and punishes you for it. Think about it. The job interview where you walked in confident, relaxed, and detached. Suddenly, you were magnetic, but the one where you needed it, where you begged for it in your heart, everything felt heavy, awkward, strained. And this truth is cruel. The more you crave someone's validation, the more invisible you become to them. This isn't just psychology, it's almost a law of power. A law that philosophers, kings, and prophets have whispered through the centuries. And if you can master it, if you can master detachment, the world doesn't just notice you, it chases you. But let me ask you this. How much of your life is ruled by invisible chains of attachment? You check your phone every few minutes, waiting for that message that never comes. You stay in relationships that drain you because you're terrified of being alone. You work jobs you hate because the security feels safer than freedom. And yet, deep down, you know the truth. The things you cling to are the very things holding you back. Nietzsche once wrote, "Freedom is the will to be responsible for ourselves." Responsibility means having the courage to let go of the crutches, the illusions, the attachments, and to stand terrifyingly alone. That's why so few ever taste real freedom. Think about ancient Rome. Think about Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the most powerful empire in the world, but wrote in his private journal every night that nothing truly belonged to him. Not his crown, not his glory, not even his own body. He practiced detachment because he knew the empire could be gone tomorrow. And yet, because he did not cling, he ruled with clarity, not desperation. Or think about Machiavelli, whose name is often twisted to mean cruel or manipulative. But at his core, his philosophy was about power, and power always belonged to those who could walk away. A ruler who is needy, who clings to the love of his people, is weak. But the ruler who can detach, who can say, "I will survive even if they hate me," that ruler cannot be controlled. Here's the paradox. The more you detach, the more life flows toward you. The moment you stop obsessing over that person, they text you. The moment you stop begging for opportunities, people invite you in. The moment you stop fearing loss, you finally begin to win. Why? Because detachment creates gravity. A person who doesn't need you becomes irresistible. A person who can stand alone draws others in. A person who has the courage to walk away gains the power to choose. It's the same principle Machiavelli wrote of. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. If you cling to being loved, you'll always be afraid. But if you master detachment, people both love you and fear losing you. But let me ask you this, are you ready to hear something uncomfortable? Your attachments aren't about love, they're about fear. You cling to people because you fear loneliness. You cling to money because you fear poverty. You cling to comfort because you fear failure. But none of these things you hold on to were ever really yours. You didn't choose the family you were born into. You didn't choose the culture that shaped your desires. You didn't even choose half of your dreams. They were planted in you by advertisements, by parents, by teachers. And yet you cling to them like a drowning man clutching driftwood, terrified to let go, when maybe letting go is the only way to swim. Plato once described reality as a cave, where people are chained, staring at shadows on the wall. Most never leave the cave, because those shadows feel safe. They're attached to the illusion. But to detach, to break free, to walk into the blinding light outside, that is terrifying. And yet, only there do you see what's real. Now think about your life. How many of the things you chase are just shadows? How many of the things you cling to are chains you've mistaken for anchors? Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk in Japan who carried a beautiful porcelain cup, a gift from his teacher. Every morning he would drink tea from it, admiring its craftsmanship. But one day another monk asked him, "Do you love that cup?" The monk smiled. "Yes, but I know it is already broken." The cup wasn't broken yet, but in his mind it was. He had already detached from it. So when the day came that the cup eventually shattered, he simply swept the pieces away. No grief, no anger. Now imagine living like that. Imagine loving people, opportunities, even life itself, without ever being a prisoner to them. Loving fully, but knowing they are already broken, already gone. That is detachment. But here's the danger. Detachment is not numbness. It's not apathy. It's not shutting down your heart. In fact, it's the opposite. True detachment allows you to love deeper because you're not clinging, you're not grasping, you're not trying to cage the bird, you're letting it fly. It allows you to pursue greatness without fear because you're not enslaved by the outcome. You can risk everything because you've already let go of everything. This is why the greatest leaders, thinkers, and lovers in history were all, in some way, masters of detachment. But let me ask you something personal. What's the one thing you're most afraid of losing? Is it a person? Your reputation? Your sense of security? Imagine, for a moment, that it's already gone. Sit with that pain. Breathe into it. Let your heart feel the sharpness of it. Now, notice something. You're still here. And in that moment, you taste something rare, something most people never feel. Freedom. Bonhoeffer, who resisted the Nazi regime and was killed for it, once wrote, "When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die." What he meant was this: true life begins the moment you accept death, of your ego, of your attachments, even of your body. Because when you no longer fear losing it all, you can finally live. And maybe that's the ultimate power of detachment. The world can't bribe you. It can't threaten you. It can't own you. Because you've already let go. So here's the final question you have to ask yourself. Do you want to spend your life clinging to shadows, begging for love, chasing things that slip through your fingers? Or do you want to walk away from the cage into the terrifying, breathtaking freedom of detachment? Because here's the paradox. When you no longer chase, when you no longer beg, when you no longer cling, everything begins to chase you. And that, perhaps, is the secret Machiavelli knew, the secret Marcus Aurelius lived, the secret that makes you untouchable. Detach and become unstoppable.